When looking for the king of podcasts, you're at the wrong channel. Looking for good ideas for life? You are far from good hands. If you think the listener is always right, you are far from the right place. Hosted by a Northeasterner by birth, a rebel by choice. If you want a host that floats between love and madness, then play on and listen to Crazy Train Radio.
What up? Excuse me while I whip this out. Oh, gnarly! Say what again? Say what again? I dare you. I double dare you, motherfucker. Say what one more goddamn time.
I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
And good evening, friends.
With over 30 years of experience and a superb reputation for being a detail-oriented company, Lacey Cleaning has some of the highest work standards in the cleaning business.
That's the fact, Jack!
Whether it's carpet cleaning, tile, grout cleaning, new construction cleanup, rental turnovers, vent and duct cleaning, odor elimination, office and or business cleaning, power washing, residential cleaning, you name it, they do it. Woo! Check them out. To contact them today, lacycleaning@gmail.com or call them at 609-709-8536.
That's what I'm talking about.
Hi, I'm Grant Fuhr. You're listening to Crazy Train Radio.
Hello out there, we're on the air. It's hockey night tonight. Tension grows, the whistle blows, and the puck goes down the ice. The goalie jumps and the players bump and the fans all go insane. Someone roars, Bobby scores at the good old hockey game. Oh, the good old hockey game is the best game you can name.
Here across the street, I won't say where from the National, but people who are attending the show will know exactly where we're at. I'm sitting here with Hockey Hall of Famer Grant Fuhr. Grant, how you doing? How's the show going for you?
The show was good. It was actually a lot of fun.
And I know, how often do you do these type of shows and whatnot?
I'll probably do 3 or 4, but normally I only do 1 or 2 a year at the most.
Yeah, well, I guess as far as this is concerned, this type of show and whatnot, when you're meeting and greeting fans, what's the strangest thing you've ever had come across signing for fans?
Late nights you sign some interesting things, but at the shows there's some different cards, different pictures, that sort of thing, and a lot of it that you've never seen, so that's the fun part of the shows.
Yeah, well, do you get a chance to wander around and see anything for yourself that you like to take, or do you collect stuff like that? Or?
I don't really collect stuff, but I like to wander around and see the different stuff. I mean, aimlessly roaming through there today, there's some stuff from Augusta, which anybody that's a golf fan likes to collect, so that interests me when I go by it. And it's funny to see some of the old cards, some of the black and white cards, and just all the neat stuff that there's actually is out there.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. A couple years ago, I know you came out with a book, The Story of a Hockey Legend. You told a lot of your story, obviously, the good, the bad, the ugly. When was there a realization while writing the book that you finally felt comfortable with sharing your story and everything?
Yeah, we were always comfortable with it. It was just, I never really thought about sitting down and writing a book.
No?
But I had lots of people ask if I'd ever do it, and some friends that were writers and such that said they'd write it if I'd sit down and talk to them. So Bruce Dalbingen used to be my neighbor in Calgary last year playing, and Bruce had written a bunch of books, and so we finally sat down and had a couple of conversations, and it turned into a book.
There you go. And look at us, the lovely wife bringing coffee, which is a good thing.
Sometimes.
Well, no, thank you. No, that's okay. Join us. Feel free. is what Lovely Life Lisa is joining us. You know, we'll go off track here a little bit since Lisa can I throw a question for you as well?
Okay.
Because I was going to get this a little further down the line here, but you know, obviously people are familiar with your husband, the hockey player, the Hall of Famer, this, that, the other, the celebrity. What would actually surprise people about Grant that most might not realize about him?
Do I have to answer that?
No, you do not. But you know, I figured, why not? You're here. We'll throw it out there.
Gosh, I think everybody knows everything about him. I mean, he's a great guy.
Well, would there be anything that would surprise people to learn about? Like if we were at a dinner or a glass of beer, you know, just casual, not, you know, in the sports setting or in a show setting.
Okay, you were asking a woman that knows nothing about hockey.
Yeah.
The only way I learned about hockey is marrying him. That's it.
So it was that charming personality that won her over, right?
We're not sure what it was, but I'm going to go with that for now.
I thought he was a golfer when I first met him, so.
Well, you know, hey, hockey players tend to play golf, and we know he's spent a lot of time on the golf courses.
I resemble the golfer part of it now.
Yeah, hey, nothing wrong with that. But obviously, back with the book and all, and you were talking about feeling comfortable and all. Did a little reading on it and all. And one of the most interesting parts for me, at least, was you talk about the summer of '86 being life-changing for that. I believe it was the loss of your father, or was it professional as well that kind of
it was kind of a bad summer between Dad passing away, the Steve Smith goal. I mean, that didn't really make for a very good summer, but at the same time, it refocused everything. So everybody kind of has a different mission the next year, and team-wise, we had a different mission. I personally was probably a little more focused. So everything works out for the best.
Well, obviously, as a goalie, you know, that's probably, hockey-wise, I would say, the most mentally challenging position on the ice. How did you try to, obviously, people are aware of demons and all this stuff, but, you know, how do you get that mental break to go, okay, you know, once the game was over, you know, you go home, whatever, your kids, all that fun stuff?
Well, I think it's mentally challenging if you make it mentally challenging. I mean, some people look at what happens if I fail. I like to look at it as what happens if I succeed. So it's not life or death. It's still a game, and you have to enjoy it. I think looking at it that way, it allowed me to enjoy it, and it also allowed me to leave it at the rink when the game was over.
Yeah, but, you know, work's work. You're able to focus on
You're allowed to be mad and unhappy with the way you played until you go to sleep. You get up the next day, there's nothing you can do about it, so why bring it back up?
Were you one that critique yourself hard after a game, win or lose?
Yeah, I was probably my own worst critic. But I think you'll find most guys that play at the National Hockey League level, or at least the starters, are the same way. You critique yourself, and then at that time we didn't have goalie coaches. So, one, you get to coach yourself. Two, you get to critique yourself. Or you can read the newspaper the next day. They're pretty good at critiquing you too.
Yeah. But did you have that's a good point. Did you have a problem, people who never played the game critiquing the game?
No, not at all. I mean, they can critique it, but until you've actually put the equipment on, it's completely different. I mean, I've known some people, good friends of mine, that threw on goalie equipment and they were amazed how heavy and how hard it is to move around in it. And that's back when all the pads and everything were heavy. So it's fun when you put somebody who looks at the position, likes the position, doesn't think it's that hard, and you put them in that spot, and they actually get to witness it, how much different their opinion changes.
Now, I think and if I'm wrong, say so here. As far as the goalie's concerned, I compare it to like a catcher in baseball, where there's a lot of mental preparation and all that stuff to prepare. Would you say that is true in terms of prepping for a game? Like you said, at the time when you played, there wasn't a goalie coach, but as far as scouting and trying to read everything, or if you weren't familiar with a team?
It's similar, but at the same time, it's reaction sport. I mean, baseball, as a catcher, you get to call the game pretty much.
Yeah.
You know what's coming, whereas as a goalie, you don't know what's coming. You have a general idea as to where it's going to come from, but there's no real set rhyme or reason to it. So it's more reaction than what baseball is.
Would you say that because of maybe the direction they were skating at you, or how would you clarify that?
Well, the easiest way to read it as a goalie is players don't want to get hit with a puck. So if they're moving one way, the puck's usually coming the other. Very few of the guys, there might be, in the 20 years I played, maybe 10 guys that would stand in front of you and might be willing to take a puck. Most of the guys would get out of the way.
Yeah.
So by their reaction, you can pretty much figure out where it's coming from, even if you can't see it.
Well, you brought up a good point about the equipment and stuff, and you've coached in more recent years. It's been a couple of years, but what's the biggest difference in the goalie equipment that you've noticed?
I think how light it is. I mean, the equipment, the padding's gotten better, and as it's gotten better, it's gotten lighter, and as it's gotten lighter, guys are wearing it bigger. Obviously, bigger makes you better.
Such a guy like Lundqvist or a Brodeur, what he was. Yeah, he was a big guy, stood up, if I'm correct on that.
Marty was the last of the stand-up.
Yes.
So, I mean, there's a good comparison between Marty and Lundqvist. Lundqvist is more of a drop-down, block-the-puck guy, whereas Marty's kind of an old-school catch-the-puck, stand-up. But they're both extremely good at what they do.
Obviously, I was interested to read about some racial tensions, unfortunately, playing professional hockey. But you also were a trendsetter. How would you describe, looking back at your career as far as being a trendsetter?
I think I was lucky to play in Canada my first 10 years, more than anything. I mean, there wasn't really any racial divide in Canada. You were a hockey player first and foremost, and that's the only way anybody saw it. Coming to the States, it was a little bit different. It's a little different to adapt to, but at the same time, you don't treat it any differently. You just go about your business and play, and never really worried about being a trendsetter. You just wanted to be the best player you could be and let everything else fall into place behind you.
Well, did you catch grief more so from like the fans and the audience, or was it like guys you played against?
No, the guys I played against were great.
Everybody was cool.
The guys were good. They give you a hard time regardless.
Yeah, that's within athletics anywhere. They're gonna.
Yeah, but pretty much about anything but that. So you're used to that. Fans, on the other hand, could be a little harsh sometimes, but you expect that when you're going into a visiting rink too.
Yeah, I was discussing this with a couple guys. We have a few former professional athletes who stayed close with the show over the past couple years and whatnot. Joe Theismann from the NFL, and guys from different sports and whatnot, even some musicians. But mostly in the sports, they always kid and joke about, at least with us anyway, they have something called kangaroo court. Did you guys have that?
I think every sports team has kangaroo court.
Some version of.
Oh yeah, even my son's baseball team right now, they've got kangaroo court. So it's just something where the guys hold each other responsible for silly little things where you get to have a lot of fun doing it.
It relieves a lot of tension, that's for sure, right?
Well, it relieves tension, but it also makes the guys close.
Yeah.
And I think if you look at all the good teams over the years, the best teams are always the closest teams. And you see the teams that struggle now, all the players are individuals. It's not built as a one-dimensional option.
Well, do you think the money is a issue with that?
It's part of the difference. Everybody's become a single business.
Yeah.
So now they're looking at individual numbers instead of looking at what's best for the team. And
what's best for me, kind of.
It's now me instead of the team, which has changed the dynamic of sport.
Well, obviously, you've played with some pretty good guys throughout your career when you played.
Not a bad talented group.
Messier, Gretzky. There's a couple guys that were pretty good.
Not bad guys.
No. Would you say those two in particular were the best players you played with or against?
Definitely. I mean, they were obviously both great leaders, both in different ways. I mean, Mess was more your vocal, physical leader. Gretz just led by example. But to have them both on the same team, obviously, is part of the reason we were good. And part of the reason we were good is because they were all about the team first. It wasn't individual accolades or anything else. It was all about what's best for the team and how do we make the team better.
Well, obviously, you said you only do 1 or 2 shows a year, sometimes 3. What do you do? What are you doing with yourself nowadays?
Most of the time, I'm running around playing charity golf tournaments, helping them raise money for different foundations, that sort of thing. And then when I'm not doing that, I run a golf course back in Palm Springs.
Okay, so good excuse to play every day, like the wife said there?
It's a good excuse for me to be at the golf course. I may not play every day, but I like being there every day.
Nothing like the fresh smell of cut grass every morning.
It's a beautiful thing.
All right. Well, I'm thinking about it, getting off track here. Do you do your Carl Spackler from Caddyshack? Or
No.
your Ty Webbs? No.
None of that.
Yeah, you're not a...
No, we're just happy to get out and play every day.
So you're not a serious guy. You're out there having fun.
I enjoy my time on the golf course. I find that to be my little sanctuary where you're outside, you enjoy the weather, and I enjoy a little bit of competition still. So it's just a fun place for me to be.
Yeah, we hide from Lisa. We won't say what. And of course,
Actually,
I'm getting...
She joins me on the
Actually,
course.
I got to look there, so...
I'm at home. I get to play with him sometimes.
So who's the better golfer here?
Oh, of course, by far him. He's on the golf course every day before home.
Oh, boy. One of the interesting facts I did read about you, and I guess, way too young to understand it, because I'm actually going to be 32 tomorrow, unfortunately.
I might have you by a day or two.
Yeah, so maybe 4. Yes. Was interesting, because I didn't realize it at the time, but learned it later on, was the 75 consecutive games. Obviously, that we talked about the mental toughness and breaking point and all. Did you find that, like, wow, I didn't get a night off here?
I enjoyed it. I mean, at that point, going into St. Louis, they'd already decided I was old and had written me off. So to be able to play every day and enjoy playing every day, and for staying healthy that long, I think was fun, because I was probably 35, 34 years old at that time. So for a goalie, you're starting to creep up in years, and to be able to do that, and then I think I played 76 in a row and 79 that year, and then played 75 again the next year on a reconstructed knee. So,
well, that's a good point. How you feeling physically overall? Because obviously there's a lot of movement, diving, and just so much as a goalie. How you feeling now?
I pay penance now. I mean, I had a knee replaced a couple of years ago. I'm getting a shoulder replaced later this year. So I'm paying penance for it now, but I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Hey, you got paid to play a game you love,
I'd have played the game for free, so if you get paid for it, it's a bonus.
Exactly. Final question for you. You played in a couple different towns, like you said, St. Louis, Edmonton. We're in a couple stops in a couple different places. Obviously, Edmonton, I would think, has a special place in your heart with 5 rings and all. But is there a particular area or town that you really enjoy playing for?
I think Edmonton was home for me too.
Yeah.
Born and raised there, so that helps with that. But I really enjoyed St. Louis. And St. Louis was a bigger version of Edmonton, where even though they had baseball, they had football, they were still a hockey town. And that surprised me a little bit when I first went there, is that I figured that the other major sports would probably be bigger, especially because the Cardinals were coming off a World Series. The Rams were good at that time, so thinking that they would be more popular. But the Blues have a fan base there that most people don't realize.
And obviously, for those hockey fans from the Philadelphia area who may or may not be old enough to remember, but I do know it, knowing people in the hockey world, St. Louis Blues used to beat the shit out of the Flyers back, which created the Broad Street Bullies. Yeah. People know the story as far as the Flyers franchise is concerned, but
Gassoffs were in St. Louis.
Yes.
Plaguers.
Yeah,
there's a mean rivalry.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. But I know I said the last question there, but I was thinking about what you said, Edmonton being home, grew up in the area and all. Was there more pressure for you to play well in Edmonton, being so you're a hometown boy?
It's pressure if you see it as pressure. I thought it was fun to play at home. You get family and friends, so you know you've got a friendly crowd every night. And they have expectations for you and hopes for you, so you want to be good. But at the same time, if you let that into your mind and worry about it, then it can be a bit of a burden too. And Edmonton's a city where they want you to be accountable. It's not just good enough to go in and put time in. They expect you to put 110% in and be successful doing it. So, yeah, there's a little bit of pressure there, but it's also a fun way to play.
Yeah, and like myself, I can speak for myself. Originally born and raised in Philadelphia, we started the show in Orlando, as Lisa's know, from chatting back and forth and all. But it's the same way in Philly that we expect. You may not be the greatest or whatever, but we expect you to put your hard hat on and go out and do your job as best of your ability every day. So
yeah. The great part about Philly is they will let you know if you're not putting what they think is 110%. They have no issues here.
They will tell you, as you know, coming in all those years, you know.
Home team, visiting team, Santa Claus, doesn't matter. They'll let you know whether things are going right or not.
Well, and you make it sound like Edmonton was the same way, that they would let you know that.
They'd be happy to tell you. They have no problem interrupting dinner if you're on a night out or whatever, letting you know if you're not playing well. They want to know why, and that's okay. They're accountable that way.
You know, hey, you know, it's the job you do, right?
That's what's changed in sport. The accountability's kind of snuck away a little bit.
And I know I mentioned it earlier. I think you agreed with me a little bit. Is that because of the money and the celebrity status and all?
Some of it's the status, some of it's the money, some of it's just the different makeup of players' mentality now. Back then, as a group, you didn't want to be the guy that let the team down, whereas now it's more individuals trying to play as a group instead of a group trying to play as one big whole.
Well, did you have an issue with that coaching when you coached a few years there in the NHL? Trying to get everybody to come together naturally?
It's hard to get guys to understand it. I mean, everybody sees they want individual stats. This guy doesn't have great stats. But at the end of the day, there's only one stat that matters, whether you win or lose. And that's the part that people have a hard time seeing now.
Yeah, and you got 6 total rings, 1 being a Hall of Fame ring, but 5, with guys who truly played together and tried to play as a team, and it showed.
We had a good group of guys that treated it as a family more than a team, where the guys all cared about each other. We all spent a lot of time together, and you all wanted to win for each other. And that's what made us so successful.
You know, I know I keep saying it, but I think of the 88, or I think it was 88, in the late 80s there, when you guys played the Flyers. Ron Hextall as a goalie, who's now their general manager and president and all. Tell some bitch, on the ice.
Hex was good. I mean, it's funny. Everybody thinks he's a mean person.
No,
but
complete opposite.
He's one of the nicest people you'll ever meet.
Yeah, he'll give you the shirt off his back. One of the best guys I've ever dealt with. As a person.
But when he played, he's a competitor.
Oh yeah.
And it was all about the game and what goes on with the game. When the game was over, he was fine.
Yeah.
But once it's on the ice, it was all business.
Yeah.
We were good friends. We were actually partners in the Canada Cup the one year. So it's fun to see Hexie in a management position.
Yeah.
Because during the games he's going to be frustrated as could be, but away from it, he's such a great person.
And he's got a good head for the game, too.
He's got a really good head for the game, and he's great for the community.
Like you said, and I don't kiss ass much, but he's one of the nicest guys you ever come across. I don't care in what walk of field. That guy will give you the shirt off his back. What can I do for you? Just
a great guy that people don't realize how good he really is.
Yeah, it's nice to see him home. In a sense,
he's where he belongs.
Yeah, he went to LA. They got a couple cups out there, when he was working there. But
everybody's going to remember him as a Flyer.
Yeah, exactly. It's nice to see him home and trying to do good for the community.
Yep.
So, Grant Fuhr, thank you so much, sir.
It's my pleasure.
What's up, Doc?
I'll tell you what's up. Based out of Atlantic City, New Jersey, Geek Time Entertainment runs exclusively along with different events in the area to strategize with their partners who will benefit with increased exposure and patron traffic.
Oh, no!
Geek Time Entertainment will work with your event in increasing the event's traffic via social media, radio, and storefront advertisements.
Holy cow!
Also, they will help increase business for your company and event with different sales incentives.
Duh.
Whether your event will be small or even mid-scale, Geek Time Entertainment is the group to work with.
That's what I'm talking about.
Contact them today at geektimeentertainment@gmail.com or facebook.com/geektimeentertainment.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?